If you're sick of the lies and ready to know thyself, to love thyself, well then tune in to the Revolution with your hosts, Amy and John Paul, where we speak all about truth, love, and freedom every Tuesday night, 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Studio A, right here on Revolution Radio. And remember, only you can free your mind control. Be a Revolutionary.
Welcome to the Revolution Show. We are a conscious family radio talk show, speaking truth, love, and freedom for all. Know thyself to love thyself. In this show, we'll be discussing topics such as how to free your mind control, higher conscious level, self-love and self-mastery, natural law, conscious parenting, social engineering, and off-gridding, along with much, much more. And now, the sacred feminine and sacred masculine dynamic twin flame revolutionary hosts, Amy and John Paul. Enjoy the show. Yo, Revolution! And I'm John Paul.
I'm Amy.
We're out of the Revolution family, Sebastian and Angus in tow here with the fearsome, foursome, conscious family coming at you on a windy, blistery, cold night here on the mountaintop. But we're doing it with the generator and getting that truth out there to the youth and whoever else will hear it.
Yeah.
If a nation expects to have their heads up their asses and to be free in a state of civilization, it expects what never was and what never will be. That was a Thomas Jefferson saying that. We put in our own version there with the head up your ass. Angus is a little upset. Yep, it's a late in the day. Hope you guys are freeing your mind control, knowing thyself to love thyself, pulling thy head out of thy rear end, and only you can do it. You know, starting your Revolution. We're on our journey. You know, it's always a conscious journey, never ending. We have an amazing guest today. 12th of November. We'll be bringing in the guests shortly. Just wanted to go over a few things. Revolution.net. Check our website out. We worked hard on it, getting a lot of organization, truth warriors, a lot of information. You can do research on from our website. Revolution, LUV-A-LUTION.net, where you can see a plethora of truth warriors, truth speakers, seekers like ourselves.
Right.
All right. Remembering government is slavery, genocide, democide, menticide, and enslavement and indoctrination. We got to let go of those old false belief systems in government.
I just wanted to add one thing, if that's all right. We are the ones we've been waiting for. I just wanted to say we're also focused on that movie outside of ourselves, but we need to focus on thyself, ourselves, and each other. So thank you, Revolution Radio, for having us on this wonderful platform. Thank you.
Yes, Revolution.radio and freedomslips.com. Please, the number one listener-supported radio station in the world. We couldn't do it without your support. All these hosts volunteer their hard time for the right cause, getting out the information. alternative information that you won't hear anywhere else. Opening, mind-blowing information, perception-smashing information like our show and many others out there. So we thank you to Revolution.radio, the Love-A-Lution on Revolution. You heard it here. Please donate, live the Love-A-Lution, and be a revolutionary and a Love-A-Lutionary. Right? You got to love soft, but love tough. I think Bob Marley said that. So anyway, without further ado, want to bring in our very special guest today, Byanca, otherwise known as B. She's an author, content creator. She's a coach, mentor, a Love-A-Lutionary. She's gone through a lot, come out the other end, and really woken herself up, freeing her mind control, taking her power back from the system, and a great example of a conscious parent making sacrifices for her children to be raised correctly, aligned with the natural laws out there. We met B. B, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Welcome.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm so excited to talk with you guys today.
Yes, likewise. Us too. And I was just going to say, we met B on Revolution.radio some time ago on a show with Crip Rick, Will Keller, Byanca, ourselves about conscious parenting. And that was a great introduction and how we met, and we've stayed friends. And then we got our own show, and we're here today talking with the very conscious, sacred feminine B. So thanks for coming.
Thank you, B, for being here.
Oh, it is my pleasure. And I'm so happy and grateful for you guys for, getting your own spot on Revolution Radio. That is awesome. Way to go. Keep putting out the good work.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun. We had such a blast talking with you that day, and Will and Rick, we were just like, wow, it's way better than doing videos where you kind of have to sit still, and can't move away from the camera. And yeah, we enjoyed it. So we thought, why not?
That's so interesting because I have a YouTube channel, bs.sacred.space, and I was doing that for a while, and I've kind of taken a hiatus, and I'm actually working on a podcast series. And so I understand, transitioning from video to more of a talk show. Yeah, so that's awesome.
Nice. And to all our listeners, there's plenty of spots on Revolution Radio.
Yes.
So think about it, everybody. If
you want to, you have time and want to speak the truth, you can always have your own show. B, we wanted to just ask you a little bit about yourself, how your journey aligned with the truth, and kind of give yourself our listeners some background about yourself.
Alrighty. So I'm super excited because November is a very important month for me, and I'll kind of go into why that is. So cool. I grew up in a single parent home, and I didn't really have a father figure in my life. And so, this caused a lot of depression and anxieties and just trauma in my life. And so I ended up going through 14 years of suffering through depression, anxiety. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I don't claim that because I just think my personality is like that. Yeah. But, I self-harmed for 10 years. And November marks 9 years since the last time that I physically self-harmed myself. And my journey from stopping that point, I went through a terrible separation from my spouse. and it left me in a really, really bad state. And so my life was kind of just going down the toilet. And for some reason I can't explain, I had an awakening. Like when I was pregnant with my daughter, which was like 2 years before my awakening, I actually did start going down the rabbit hole, but it was very dark. So I kind of put that stuff aside because I just didn't want to put that kind of stress on myself while going through my pregnancy. And so it kind of just went in the back of my mind. But, you know, I've always kind of just been different. I've always been like a rebel. I've never voted in my life. I never understood the importance of it. I never felt like the government was really doing me and like the people I knew any justice. So I just kind of strayed away from that.
Good for you.
Yeah. So then I had a spontaneous awakening, and I just questioned, like, why is no one talking about the experience that I went through, which I can't really explain exactly what happened. It was very unique. But I started doing research and I realized like I had an awakening, and, you know, there was a lot of lies and deceits and programs that we were given. And because I suffered a lot in my like mental illness, I really kind of dove down like the pharmaceutical rabbit hole, and immediately, which I do not recommend for anybody, but I immediately stopped taking all of my antidepressants and all of that stuff. And I've been good. Like I've done a lot of work on myself. I did a lot of research in my early years. I was introduced to Mark Passio shortly after I had this awakening, and his information just led me to pretty much a lot of stuff that I know now, which I will forever be grateful for him and the person who put me onto him. But ever since then, you know, I just been working on myself, trying to understand myself, heal myself, and learning to love myself and be authentic in who I am, and to raise kids who, you know who they are, who love who they are, and are authentic and moral, and are, you know, fulfill their purpose that they are here to do. And so that's kind of like my journey.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, yeah, that's an incredible.
Warrior.
Yes, that like the caterpillar into the butterfly.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a long journey, but I am so grateful for everything, even the bad, even, you know, not having a father, even through the abuse and just all the stuff that I've gone through. I'm so grateful because now, where I am at in my own consciousness, I realized I had to experience those things. Like some of it still affects me, but I realized that this world is filled with so much suffering and neglect and abandonment that it takes people who have gone through that suffering and overcome it to help, you know, elevate the rest of the people here on earth, because a lot of people are just trying to get by the day to day, and they have a whole bunch of heaviness on them that they don't know how to work through. So I'm really grateful for the experience and being able to use my story, my knowledge and wisdom to help other people break through traumas and limiting beliefs.
Wow, good for you. Yeah. Yeah, it's such an amazing truth warrior you are, with such great intentions. You've been through the ringer and came out clean on the other side, kind of like our stories. We've been through a lot. And
I love how you said, you know, what we go through helps us help other people. Like everything we go through, the hard times, the good times, especially the hard times, it helps us help others, which is wonderful. I love that. Absolutely.
Exactly. And I mean, you get more help and assistance from people who've experienced something like you than someone who's never experienced any type of trauma in their lives. Like, it's hard for them to actually be of assistance because they don't understand what it's like. And so that's what I really just want to use my experience and use it as a catalyst and not something that holds me back, which unfortunately a lot of people allow their past to hold them back.
Yes, and not being the victim. You said, nah, no more pity party. I'm gonna take control and take my power back.
Exactly. And I mean, I will be honest with you. For the longest time in my life, I was the biggest victim. I blamed everybody. I did not take no type of responsibility for my life. It was woe was me. And I realized that that wasn't getting me anywhere. That actually kept me in the cycle of being a victim and, you know, not really making any changes in my life. And it wasn't until I was like, okay, so no one's going to come save you. So you got to come save yourself and you got to put this work in. And it was hard. Like, it's not an easy journey. It's not an easy task. It's not something that's kind of one and done. It is a progression. It is like a lifelong journey. But again, I wouldn't trade it for anything because our experience is what builds our characters. And you can either let your experience make you into someone who's weak, vulnerable, or a victim, or you can take your experience to empower yourself and empower others.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great word, weak. That's why I see a lot of people are very weak and soft out there. We gotta be strong and courageous and tough, you know. It's like
we can't quit.
No,
we gotta keep going. We gotta be consistent.
It's a daily thing, you know, being on yourself, being on your side, being your best friend, being easy with yourself. You are enough. You're amazing. Smiling at the mirror, not frowning at the mirror, you know. That is a lifelong journey, like you said, that loving yourself every day.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it takes time. Like, it's not an easy process. I know I said that before, and it's not. Like, I would never tell someone that healing and taking yourself out of the victim mentality is something that is easy and it'll be smooth sailing, because it's not always the case. I actually have been doing really well for myself for the last 7 years of being on this journey. And this year, for the first time, I hit depression again, where I honestly contemplating self-harming again. But I have had years of building, you know, my self-care practice and surrounding myself with the right people, and understanding that life has its ups and its downs, and that this was just another experience that I had to experience and overcome. And so, like, even for someone who has been doing this work for several years, it's not always easy. There's always battles to be done. And I believe even the people who are who are awakened, who understand what's going on in the world, they have a way more harder time than the average person, because not only do they have to deal with the everyday life and growing and reflecting, but they also have to deal with knowing that there is ultimately an agenda that is meant to kill us and keep us enslaved. And that's a whole nother pressure to put on someone. So I really recommend the people who are awakened, who are on this truth conscious journey, having a self-care routine, having the right support, having community, and continuing to work on themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's great points, because things come up for me. I'll think like it's gone and then it'll come back up. You know, and to be open to what's coming up and say, yeah, it's coming back up. That's okay. I'm just going to face it again and get through it.
Yeah, we have that extra responsibility, knowing what we know, that moral obligation. Now,
it can be so depressing.
And it is a daunting task, and it's a heavy it's a monumental task to try to wake the masses. I mean, go about what we're trying to do.
Going up against the manipulation and the social engineering, and
yeah, and how they're all on the same page, working in a cohesive unit, where we're all over the place. But it's that personal journey that it takes within each of us for that decision that we made. That you made a decision, that you wanted to be a better person. You were sick of these basically hamster wheels. We're going around our treadmills that we go on, where we have these unresolved issues, and we don't want to face them, or lessons that keep coming up, and we don't want to learn the lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So tell us about the books you've written. You have one called Reality, Mastering Reality, right?
Yes.
And was that your first book?
So yes, that is the first book that I've created. I have another book that I've created. I just haven't put in public. And then I have another book that I am finishing up. So Mastering Reality is all about, oh my goodness, I love this subject. Okay. It's all about manifestation. And during the beginning of my journey, I knew about the law of attraction, and I've manifested things, but it took me a while to physically manifest change in my life. So this last 2 years, I've really started to understand the process of manifestation, and I incorporate using the 8 principles, law of mentalism, law of correspondence, law of polarity, all of that, and the law of belief to physically change my experience. And so I think one of the problems with, trying to change the world or change our experience is a lot of people feel powerless. People don't understand that we ourselves hold great, God-like powers within ourselves, and that we aren't a victim to our experience. In fact, we are a contributor of our experience. And a lot of people don't understand that how we act, what we think, the emotions we feel, what we speak, what we believe, impact what we experience on the outer reality and what we experience as a collective. And so I created Mastering Reality to give people the practical steps to get real results of how to change things in the realities. Because once we understand that we do have power to influence what we experience, then we can see the world in a more comprehensive way. We can really understand that we do have power to change our experiences, and our personal experience and the experience in our reality. I mean, I've created change within myself. I've created change within people that were around me. I have brought in things into my reality way better than I did in the beginning of my journey, because now I understand the laws that impact us. And so that is what Mastering Reality is to help people understand the 8 principles and to actually apply it into their lives and get real results. So that was my first book. I thought that was kind of the foundation of, my work, because ultimately what I want to do is I want to empower people. I want people to know that they have the ability to create the life they desire. They have the ability to influence the world in which they desire. And then from there, we can then work on other aspects of our lives. Because if we're going through, let's say, depression, some type of mental illness or grief or whatever it is, if we feel powerless, then we're not going to take the actions and we're not going to persist and persevere through the challenges if we don't feel like we're capable. So that's kind of, again, where Mastering Reality came from. The second book. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a great one. Just a way to, that gives that clarity of the law of attraction, where I first got introduced with it from The Secret, which kind of holds back some information about taking action. And so I just had a false sense of reality, didn't know Passio's material yet, and thought if I just say it, a bunch, and, think about it, it'll come. Which, no, that didn't really work. But anyway, go on.
Manifesting is a skill.
Yes.
It's a skill, and it's one that we all have that opportunity to grow in and master.
We say the inner creates the outer.
Yes.
Simply said, and you create everything in your life, the good, bad, and the ugly. We don't want to admit that.
Yeah, nobody wants to admit that.
But, and then, talking on change, like your book is about how to change. That is a subject everyone is scared shitless of, change. We got to really face and embrace change to evolve and start our own Lovolution. But yeah, anyway, go on about your second book, B. Sorry.
Oh no, and I agree. Change is difficult. It's hard. For me, I am somebody who didn't have a lot of stability in my life. So I need structure. I need things that are like, I know it's going to happen. And that was a great challenge for me, was understanding the ever changing, how do I want to say this? The ever changing experience of life. Life is nothing but changes from day to day to growing older, and so we have to learn to accept change because it is an integral part of our lives, and learn to work with it. And so I'm hoping that with my work I can show people that it's okay to embrace change. And by embracing change is how we change ourselves and how we change the world.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, you got to balance yourself before you can bring balance to the world. Or that's the Lovolution within yourself in order to influence others to have their Lovolution. So we can collectively all experience a Lovolution on a global intergalactic scale, even thinking big,
Yes. For me personally, I feel like when I let go and I don't struggle as much, the flow with life's outcome willingly. When we realize we create our life, we can start to we can stop regretting it or stop fussing about it. We can just deal with what we're creating at the moment and say, okay, I'm creating this, and then, I'm choosing this, and then take the steps. But I'm finding when I say I'm choosing to do this, even when I don't want to do something, I say, well, I'm choosing to do this. It helps me get through stuff.
Oh, yes. I mean, everything is a choice. Rather we choose to do something or not do it. It's all a choice. And all of our choices, all of our actions or inactions are creating change within our experience. And so you can either, choose to go with the changes, or you can choose to stay stagnant. Going with the flow is also a part of, embracing change, because sometimes when we're creating change in our life, or we want change in our life, it's not a beautiful thing. It's not a smooth thing. Sometimes it's very turbulent, and you have to be able to let go and go with the flow and ride out the experience. There's no such thing as a peaceful experience. I do believe that we can achieve way more freedom and happiness, but I do not believe that life is not without pain. I feel like we need those polar opposites to really experience life as a human.
Yes. And the range of, yes.
We always say happiness is just a fleeting emotion, like sadness and anger, and it's okay to not be happy all the time. We shouldn't be happy all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
I totally agree. So my next book that I have created but not have put out is called Navigating Life. I feel like one of the problems that we face with trying to awake people is just we have too much on our plate. A lot of us are trying to provide for ourselves and our family. Prices are rising up. A lot of us are dealing with mental issues, relationship problems, our traumas, our limiting beliefs, and all of the stress that you can believe is in the world. We're all dealing with that. And so trying to wake somebody up, that's a lot for them. I mean, we talked about this earlier. As those who are awakened on this path, you have a whole nother responsibility and a whole nother level of stress. And so I find that one of the reasons why people can't handle new information is because it's too overwhelming. Life is too overwhelming. So I created this book on how to navigate, through life, and just taking like basic skills of understanding and, just trying to get us, to handle the ups and the downs of life. And I feel like that's kind of the second step to, personal growth and changing the world, is learning how to navigate things so that it's not like an end all be all. If something goes bad, it's not the world is over. I mean, what we're facing now almost seems like an impossible task. But if you don't have that perseverance, if you don't have that vision, if you don't have that drive and motivation, there's no way that you can create change, because you'll get defeated along like every step of the way. And so that's kind of what navigating life is, just to help people navigate ordinary, like everyday life, so that when they're faced with something bigger, they don't just crumble under pressure.
Yes, that's a great.
Wow, amazing job, B. Thank you for everything you do.
Yeah. Yes, B. You could just tell the care. You have the care like us. You care not just for your family, but for the human family. And
most definitely.
And it's sad to see the overwhelming ignorance and apathy everywhere, and laziness and cowardice, of course. But yeah, it's how's the where you are after the selection? How is the atmosphere where you are? Is it very tense and divisive?
Well, I live in Idaho, so it is like a red state. Honestly, I don't know the difference. I know for a lot of people that's important to them. Honestly, I don't care about the election, not one bit. I prefer not.
That's good.
I prefer not to talk about. I mean, I'll talk about it with you guys, but like an everyday conversation, I just don't care. That's always kind of been my opinion towards it. It's not the president or anybody in government that's going to really help us out. And so I choose to put my focus on what I can do and control, because no matter what, they're going to do what they're going to do. And I just have to do what I can do while I can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But everyone, it tends to be like, I love my state. Like it's pro homeschool, it's pro gun rights. There are a lot of freedom fighters out here. So I feel good about the state that I'm in. But I mean, I know what goes on in the collective affects us all. So it's not that I'm ignorant to everything. I just choose not to stress about things that are out of my control.
It's actually really nice that it's over. Holy
yes.
Let's just celebrate that for one. Holy cow. I feel like it was 5 years of campaigning, these idiots.
I feel bad.
Money they waste. Holy cow on that. On these two idiots, and that they could have all gotten us $1 million homes for all the money they wasted.
Right,
these idiots. But anyway, I got worked up. Yeah,
no, understandable. But I definitely agree. It's a breath of fresh air. Like that's what I waited the most. I'm like, can we just get it over with? Just announce who the winner is, so everybody can be butthurt, and we can just get over it. Like,
yeah. I know. Everyone get their little baby, baby bottles out, and then we can all move on. Yeah, exactly. So they select who they want. We don't have any choice. That's a complete illusion. We tell everyone, they want you watching that movie, The Hollywood for the Ugly People. And we got to be our own, actor, director, and writer of our own movie, producer. So we can manifest what we want, not the mess that they want us to manifest,
Most certainly. It's funny. I don't want to speak on this topic for too long, but I remember early in my journey, I had met this spiritual teacher, and his information was great. He was an older man. I think he was like in his 50s or 60s, like an older man, very spiritual, very aware. And I remember we had this conversation, and he's like, "So who did you vote for?" And I'm like, "I didn't vote for anybody." And he degraded me. Like,
Wow.
you're the reason why this country is failing. And he's like, it's something about you millennials. And I'm like, what? Because I'm not choosing to, vote for someone who really does not care about us, who is enslaving us. Yeah, and it's crazy. Yeah, exactly. Like, the mentality people have around
it's like they take it personal, like you insulted their favorite team or something.
I don't understand that. Like they have nothing to do with you. You don't know these people at all.
They don't care about you. They're not going to change your life.
I know.
They'll make it worse, but
yeah, that's it. Getting out of that savior too and victim mentality. Like someone's not coming to save you. You had to realize that. I had to realize that, and then you got to buck up and say, "All right, I got to start living and for myself instead of doing what they told me."
Agreed. Like it's crazy.
Empowering once you go on that journey. I mean, they're not our presidents, they're not our government. We govern ourselves, like you do.
Yes, it is all about self-governance, which, I mean, I've had people try to debate me about how we need government and everything. And so I will say this, I know a lot of people won't agree with me, but before we can see true change, I do believe that government will have to stay in our life for a while, just because we're so used to being enslaved. We're so used to being told what to do that I don't think that we can necessarily just break away from government, because I think that is when we'll have actual chaos. It will have to be a transition out of it. I know a lot of people don't necessarily agree with me either way. I don't believe we should have government. I don't have a president. I don't have a mayor. I don't have none of those. None of those people govern my life. Nobody comes and helps me with my kids. No one helps me with my healing. So I don't have one of those. But
we don't.
You made a good point, though. A lot of people are going to have a hard time transitioning. And so it won't be them just cutting it all off tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just like birth, free birthing is now, a lot of women are taking their power back, but I mean, a lot of women are still nervous to do that and choose a hospital. And so everyone's on their evolution and pulling these institutions away.
Yes. It's great to be talking with two strong, sacred, feminine women that are authentic, because there's so few of you ladies out there. And I'm just thankful for you girls to being courageous, strong, and persevering and persisting through, so much adversity, because you guys have it so much harder, women than men, in this world, dealing with just biological stuff and emotional, and it's no joke. We have to pick our women up and put them on pedestals. They're sacred, feminine, and this whole patriarch is all backwards, how we have it with war and killing and suffering. It's all from the male energy that's been dominant here for so long. And the feminine energy is rising now in the age of Aquarius. the knowing over the believing all the lies that they told us, knowing the facts, knowing the truth. And that's that journey that it takes to go. It's not a pretty journey. It's not an easy, soft, cuddly journey. It's tough. It's hard. And but it's such a, it's like the truth. You think of it like the lies are real heavy, like really heavy balls and chains weighing you down. You got to carry them everywhere with you. When you take them off and you're with the truth, it's just like a light little backpack you got on, and you feel great.
Not hiding from yourself anymore.
Yeah. Knowing thyself, you walking confidently in who you are. You know why you're doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But
those are all great points.
Oh, thank you. Yes. How's your kids and how is the homeschooling going? You want to talk to us about that?
Well, my kids are driving me crazy, but I mean,
yes,
that's like. Kid. But it's going good. Like there's definitely some hard times when it comes with homeschooling and being a conscious parent. And I am very fortunate enough that I am a stay-at-home mother, so I'm with my kids 24/7.
Wow.
Pretty much 365 days. But I wouldn't trade it for any other way. Since I think high school, I knew that I was already going to homeschool my kids. I just did not like the schooling system, and like my school district wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good. I walked away feeling like I completely wasted my whole entire 4 years, and I wanted to be homeschooled, but my mother was Right. My mother was a stay-at-home mom and she worked a lot of jobs. And so I wouldn't want my mom to homeschool me now. But, I wanted that experience. And when I left high school, I'm like, yeah, my kids will never, ever go to school. And so I made that happen. And I homeschool my children. Well, my son, he's about to be 3, so he doesn't get like a whole lot of schooling. But my approach to homeschooling is the simpler, the better. And so I observed what I needed from school, and I asked people around me, like, what do you use from school that you use in your everyday life? And so I took what, I learned about myself and other people's experience, and I just do the basics. Like, I don't stress with having my child read at a certain age or be able to spell a whole dictionary worth of words. I allow my children to learn at their own rate, and I ask them, like, what do you guys want to learn? And then we learn that for a couple of weeks and we move on, and that's kind of what we do. And I kind of just stress the importance that if you need to learn anything, there's always resources available.
Nice. So, that's kind of our approach too. Like,
self-directed. Yeah.
It's more about Sebastian's interests, and then we'll dig into that for the day. Let's say it's bats or whatever. Then we'll get as much info and we'll just study and learn. And like, there's no set window on when he needs to read, or that's all like that indoctrination and that belief that we have to learn a certain age. It's not true. Children can learn when they're ready, and when they're ready to move on, they'll tell you, and it's pretty natural.
Yes, it is.
So, and in our state, we just have to fill out a portfolio, and we have to have 175 days, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple. There's other options, but we're doing the unschooling method, unschooling.
Or homeschooling, yeah.
We also call it homeschooling, but it's just life, right? We're all all the time. It's just life. Yeah.
Life is school, not in the 4 walls and the fluorescent lights. That's not learning. And
I mean, how we learn naturally is we learn through experience and having the interest. And so that's what I want to, teach my kid. Like, I was just talking to my daughter the other day about schooling, and I'm like, I went to school and I was made to take classes that I will never use in my life. And she asked me like this stuff that I took, and I'm like, I got put in fashion design. Like, I want nothing to do with fashion and designing. But that's just how schooling is. They just put you in classes that they, for some reason, I don't know if they're trying to do like a well-rounded kind of experience, but I feel like that was just like the wrong approach.
Uh-huh.
And so we just do things that we're interested in. My daughter, she wants to be like 100,000 things when she grows up. I mean, I did too. So like, she wants to dance. So I have her in dance. She wants to do hair. So she like practices on her dolls, like all of that stuff like that. So, I just, try to support the 1,000 things she wants to be, and eventually one or 3 will stick to her, and she'll continue to pursue that. But she'll pursue it because she wants to, not because it was forced upon her.
Yes. Oh, what a great mommy you are, Bea.
That is so great to hear.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And you guys are doing amazing yourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you and honor your amazing work. It's not easy. Like you said, they drive you nuts. You find this older one tries to control the younger one?
Oh, all the time. But my daughter is an Aries, so she's very leader and bossy. It's just her personality.
Yeah. And what's the age difference? It's 8
6
and 3, right? Oh yeah.
9 and 3.
9 and 3, yeah. So she's a big help probably too, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know how I could raise my son without my daughter.
Wow,
she helps so much. She's such a great big sister. Like, she's a natural at it. I love it.
Wow.
Great experience.
Yeah, she's going to be an awesome mom because she's getting the right tutelage with you, conscious parenting,
Yeah.
And
I hope that I do my children some justice. Right now, my daughter says she's not having kids, and I don't blame her.
That's funny. Yeah. He says the same too. Yeah, and they just are smarter, probably coming in.
And maybe because like we consciously parent, so they see the reality of what's really going on, and they're not sheltered. So they're like, I'm all set. Like, this is a lot of work. And mommy is, with us all the time. It just doesn't look that easy.
And I love that for our children. Like, I am not a person that's like, no, you should have kids, or no, you shouldn't have kids. I believe that I don't think that people should have kids the way that they do. I think that a lot of us, kind of have this idolized version of parenting and having kids, and we don't really fully understand the extent of what it means to actually be a parent. And so I believe that is causing a lot of harm in our family unit and just in the collective. And I believe that more people should not have kids, but more people should really take the time to understand what it's like having kids and make a conscious decision about that, because a lot comes with having kids, not just for the kids, but for the individual. You go through a lot of changes, and you have to go through a lot of growth, and some people aren't ready for that.
Right. And they're not stepping up. They're just sending them away all day. And so they're not truly becoming a parent. Like, they're not going through the initiation, I feel like. Mm-hmm. Like, they're using the state to help them, so it's not as bad or not as challenging.
Yes, they don't have to be as responsible, make sacrifices like you have and like we have, to then get to raise our kids consciously, morally. I mean, it takes a lot to raise a child, period, but to consciously raise one, it takes a huge effort, and it starts with a conscious parent first. It's like people like the idea of having kids, but when the reality sets in and you got to be with them every day, And they say, no way, take them, school bus.
Right.
Take them away, please. And then drop them off. Thank you.
Right. The amount of times I hear people like, oh, I could never homeschool my kids. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, homeschooling's not for everybody. I understand. Sometimes I don't feel like I'm really doing the best job. And when you're with your kids a lot, like that takes a toll on your mental capacity.
Absolutely, yes.
But it's the responsibility and, being conscious about the development and how you raise your children is what really makes you a parent. And I know some people,
why you're doing it, totally reminding yourself. Yeah.
Yes, and it's a big job, and so it's easier for people to kind of send them away. And I don't fault people, because again, the programming is run so deep and heavy that people can't really see an alternative because they don't have a reference to what that looks like. Like, people look at us who homeschool and are with our children 24/7, and they see that as weird, strange. That's odd. Why would you do that? What about your children? Not knowing that is kind of how it's supposed to be. That's how it was. And It's just breaking that program and seeing that there are other alternatives just doesn't really cross people's minds.
Yes, and that was considered crazy and asinine to give your kids to the state when they first introduced schools. What are you, crazy? We're not giving our kids away all day. Now we're crazy if you do it like old school. Right. Take that responsibility, and we're considered the oddballs, the nut jobs, or whatever, because we're taking the full responsibility for our kids.
And from my experience, I felt like I was second to the money thing, and the matrix. As like my folks, I felt like making money was the most important thing to them over us. And I just didn't want to teach my kids that. I want them to know they come first before the money,
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
Most certainly. Like I said, my mom, she was a single mother of 3 kids, and all of our dads were not the greatest father figures that could be. So like my mom had to work a lot, and I realized like now, like what I wanted the most from my mom was her time. But I don't fault her, because I understand I'm a single mother. I want to find a better phrase than single mother, because I feel like that has its own kind of notion behind it. But as a single mom, I didn't want that for my children, and I decided that I would make it work. I would make a way for me to be with my children, and I've been very blessed. I know my situation's a bit different than other people, but I feel when you have a desire and you feel strongly about it and you go towards it with conviction, the universe...
Quick.
The universe will allow it to happen. You just have to believe in it. You have to have faith in that vision, and you have to go towards it no matter how hard it is. Yeah,
and uncomfortable. And you listening to your soul instead of the ego, right? Letting that's great stuff. Well, we're almost coming up to the end, close to the end. Well, we'll obviously, we'd love to talk with you again sometime, but we can keep chatting for a few more minutes.
I just wanted to ask you about your hula hooping, honey. When did you start hula hooping?
Oh, wow. Yes, I love hula hooping. So I started hooping, I think it was like February of 2020. So right when COVID had like really started becoming like a thing. I had a hula hoop. It was a really small hula hoop, and I got it because I wanted to make a jumbo dream catcher. I just never got to it. Yeah. And my daughter kept asking to play with it, and I'm like, no, it's for an arts and crafts. And I finally just caved in one time, and she couldn't do it. And I'm like, let me show you. And I couldn't do it. And it's like, why can I not get this child's toy? And so I looked on YouTube, and I found that hoop dancing was a thing, and I fell in love with it. I realized I had this small hula hoop, so it wasn't going to work. And so I went to Walmart, not really my favorite store, but I went to Walmart and I got a cheap hula hoop and I fell in love, and I've been hula hooping ever since. I make my own hula hoops now. So
wow.
Yeah, you inspired me. I haven't gotten one yet, but man, like it just looks so fun. And
oh my goodness, I would love to make you one.
Yeah, it looks so relaxing too, and meditative, you know, especially with kids.
Yeah, it's like exercise, kind of like yoga, exercise, and fun all together.
Yeah, I love your hula hoop videos.
Oh, thank you. It's my stress release. It's my workout. It's how I get creative. I don't really spend a whole lot of time learning new hula hooping tricks as I should. When I usually record, I'm just flowing. So I'm just allowing the music to move me, and it's been amazing. I love it. I love teaching people. I love making hula hoops. Like when the weather is nice, I generally always have my hula hoops with me. I love people watching me, not like a conceited thing, but it's such a different type of art style, and I love just sharing it with other people.
Yes. Yeah. Where can everyone check out your work? Where can they go? bs.sacred.space on YouTube, I think.
Yeah, you can go to YouTube. Right now, I am on a hiatus, but if you want to keep updated with me, you can find me on Instagram, and it's bs.sacred.space. And I love for you guys to follow me. I post almost daily. And and any updates about me, you'll find on my Instagram.
Wow.
Awesome.
This has been a great show.
Yeah, it's been so great talking with you, B.
Oh, I had so much fun. I can't believe an hour went up that fast.
I know. It does fly when we're having fun speaking the truth. We love you. Thanks for joining us, B. And thanks for everyone for listening. Big Love-Olution out there. Know thyself to love thyself.
Only but ourselves can free our minds. Love you all.
Hey.
Thank you for listening to Revolution.